everybody. AJ Bruner with you, and welcome to the birth of the Coloring Therapy Studio. Great stuff is going to happen here eventually. I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to be able to get things in full swing here, but generally the idea is to kind of walk everybody through the steps that I take in creating various tie-dye art that I've done in the past. You can use things like metal boxes. I've switched from rubber bands to twine. Very helpful. Things like stencils are great too if you use the proper markers. China markers are great to use for stencils because China markers work wonderful on fabric. Generally, you can find them in about these 4 colors: yellow, red, white, black. I tend to use white t-shirts or white base color fabric to start with. You can also go to your local big box store and maybe pick up little sections, little sample pieces of fabric. Usually maybe run you $1 or $2. These are great for trying out new techniques for tying off your material. I mentioned I use twine. This here is a result of twine that was used on a previous project. Notice the coloration within the twine. This will be reused in a macrame project later on down the road. Another thing that's helpful, rocks. Shells are good too. Since I live down here in Florida, I'm not too far from the coast, so I can pretty much go and get rocks and shells whenever I need to. Understandably, not everybody has access to things like that, but look around and see what's outside you can use. You might be surprised. Speaking of surprised, so we think tie-dye, we think, well, we can use rubber bands and section off areas, we can use twine and tie them off further. Do not forget safety pins. Safety pins also add an interesting layer of intricacy to every tie-dye project, in that if you allow the material to soak long enough, you'll get little rust marks around the holes. That can add new depth to your project. Next, I'm talking about dye. I know a lot of people like the liquid dyes. They're really popular in the stores. Usually you'll find a lot more liquid dye than you will powder. I prefer powder, and I prefer RIT. Yes, it's a shameless plug for RIT. I don't even know if they're going to watch. It doesn't matter. The point is, try and be consistent with your supplies. If you start mixing and matching powder, you might get a very disastrous result. So, those are all my tips right now at the moment. Stick around because I will be demonstrating more tie-dye stuff later on in the future. Take care. Have fun.